Ms. Frazier, I just want to confirm, do you have a written or an oral lease agreement with the other Fraziers?
No.
Did you ever make an agreement for them to make pay a certain amount of money for them to stay there?
Not um not physically, but verbally, yes.
Okay. Have they ever paid you any money for rent?
Partial payment, but not full. Well, on Elia's behalf, partial payment.
And when you say partial, was there an agreed amount that was supposed to be paid?
Yes. So
And how?
the rent is split 1750 between four people,
Mm-hmm.
and only two people, which was me and my boyfriend, and has been paying it ever since my dad gave up the lease in July.
Okay. And so who's on the lease?
I am as of now.
Is
Um,
anyone else on the lease?
no, it's just my name.
Okay. And these people have been, how long have the other Fraziers been residing with you?
So we were all staying in a house. My dad name was originally over the lease.
Uh-huh.
We were supposed to do the renewal for July, but he said that he wasn't going to do the renewal,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I stepped up and I signed the renewal. It wasn't in July because we had to get documentation together. But me and the landlord had been talking prior to, and I was still paying rent. So the lease was officially signed of September the 9th. And that's when things went into effect. But like I said, they haven't been paying since. Well, Elijah just came back. Elia has been here since my dad,
What's
didn't.
your what's your relationship to the other Fraziers?
Siblings, oldest brother, little sister.
Okay. And the concern I have, and I just want to make sure you're saying they paid partial payments. When's the last time any one of them have paid you any money or paid any money?
Um, since July.
Okay. Have you made a demand on them, demanding how much money they need to pay since there's no
Yeah.
written agreement or anything like that?
Yes. So the same day that I actually signed the lease, which was September the 9th, I
Mm-hmm.
actually spoke with them and I told them, I said, it doesn't matter about July. We're not talking about July or August rent. Since I just signed this lease, I said, I understand, we may have, our own difficulties, our issues going on, but I said, we're going to have to pay X, Y, and Z every month. And if you can't pay it, then I'll just let you know now you have to get out because, bills are, at an all-time high right now. And working 12 to 13 hours a day for me is very exhausting. Um,
For anybody, yes.
yeah. So that's the conversation that I had with them literally on September the 9th. And as of that, I reached out to them the next month, October, concerning rent. I never got rent.
How,
November,
how,
never got
how
rent.
much is rent? That's the big thing.
1750 is the
How
whole.
much is rent for them though?
So it's supposed to be split 475 even between four people.
475 even. Okay, just want to make sure.
Hold on, wait, let me do.
Because you didn't put any amount on your complaint. You didn't say what any amount you were asking for. So I just want to know because
Yeah, I
I'm not.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't put an amount because, like I said, it's just not even about the amount. At the end of the day, I'm just still trying to give them grace. So I'm just trying to, just make it easier for them and just do the eviction instead of them doing back pay on the rent.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
So that's
You're
why I
saying you're
didn't.
not looking for a money judgment, but you're saying they were responsible for this 475. Did you ever give them anything in writing before you filed this action? Let them know, like, look, you ain't giving me your 475 for a couple months. I'm gonna have to evict you. We're gonna have to file this action.
Um, I text my sister on social media a couple times concerning rent, but
You
that's about
texted her a
it.
couple times on social media for the rent?
Be- Because
Like you put her on blast, or was this like a,
no, no,
a
no, no.
public
It was direct. It was a direct message. Her phone isn't on, so that's the only way that I can contact her at the
comment?
moment.
I see. Did you identify a specific amount you were looking for before you
I
filed it?
I did.
And how much was that?
So I actually just did the math. It was actually $435 a piece for all four of us to pay, the $1,750.
Okay.
So the first time she gave me a partial payment of, I think it was $200,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And she told me that she would give me the rest from her other job. I never received the money um, prior to that, and then time has prolonged, and then I asked her again. It just got to the point where I wasn't getting any responses at all.
I got it. I got it. I got it. Hold tight. Let me speak with your brother and your sister. So we can start with the phrase. Let's do
Elia.
Elia. Do you have a oral agreement to pay rent to your sister for this place?
No.
Okay. Did you ever pay rent for this particular location?
I was paying rent um up until when I could afford rent. My car went down this year of January. I was on the lease with my dad. Prior to when we came to this house, we got this house after my mom passed away. My mom passed away May 17, 2024. I came here with my dad. I was the only person here with my dad. My dad never stayed here. He left me here. He left me here by myself. So I was here by myself for 2 months. Um, then they came and stayed with me. And they were staying with me up until the end. So I was to leave this year because of my
But
own
you're
financial
saying,
hardship
did
that I
you
was
ever
having.
make an
My car went
agreement?
down.
Hold on. Did you ever make an agreement to pay
No,
your sister any rent? Did
no,
she sign a new lease? Did you sign a new lease for this place?
no.
Did okay? So okay, you didn't sign a new lease. Do you know if your sister signed a lease?
No, she's saying she did, so I mean,
Okay. Did you know if your brother signed a lease?
no.
Okay.
I don't think he's
All
either.
right. Who's paying rent?
Her and her boyfriend, I would assume.
Okay. And do you know how much rent is?
1750.
Okay. And did you ever pay any portion for the rent since you've been there?
No, like I said, only what I could afford to give.
Okay. And when's the last time you gave something?
Probably was around the time that she said.
Okay. All right. Well, let me speak to Elijah. Elijah, do you have a separate agreement with your sister to pay rent?
Sir.
Have you ever paid rent to your sister?
Yes, sir.
And when have you paid her rent?
I would say, um, like a month going to two.
You said you paid her a month ago?
Yes, sir. Going to 2 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And how much did you pay her?
I want to say close to like two something.
Okay. And do you guys have an agreed amount of how much you're supposed to pay her?
Yes, sir.
And how much is that?
450.
Okay. And you're supposed to pay 450 a month?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you haven't paid in about a month or two?
Right. Yes, sir. And I mean, I was gonna pay the full rent this month. It's just with all the threats and the locking doors. I felt that piece not paying because I also didn't feel safe at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever days you grant us to stay or leave, I will be leaving on that time. But I just think too tough, feel comfortable loaning rent this month with my sister being involved with threats and me back and forth having to call the police. Um, and like I said, I just got a job recently
And
not
you
too long
guys
ago.
all live
So
in the same place?
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
I also recently got a job not too long ago, and I definitely was gonna get rent. Like I said, right now, what I'm paying on for myself is lights. I have no problem doing that. We all need
Did
lights,
she ever
but
tell you how much money she was seeking from you before she filed this action?
no, sir,
You ever get a letter from your sister saying what she want to file an eviction action against you?
no, sir.
All right. All right. All right, Miss Frazier and the Frazier family. Let me tell you what it looks like. So, you know, you guys have a very loose, maybe oral agreement from what it appears for you folks to kind of all pay a portion of rent. Now, Miss Frazier, you independently, understandably so, signed an agreement, at least is what you're alleging, and a loan to rent this particular home, and therefore then requesting that the other parties contribute towards the rent. I guess it wasn't formal, but kind of informal that everybody would broke up and pay a certain portion. It comes to our attention maybe that the other parties were having paid their portion. I don't think there has been any demand of possession though, but you're not looking for any monetary judgment. You are looking for a writ, but at the same time, you're saying that their non-payment is the justification for you to pursue the case. This is what I would say, Ms. Frazier. I do find that there is an agreement, but what I do want to say is that you do need to demand possession, even if you're not looking for any money. You do need to demand, giving them notice, like, hey, this is the amount of money. If you ain't gonna give me this money, I'm gonna file this. Because if you don't do that, you're not really accomplishing what the goal is. If it's money and it's not for non-payment, they got to get an opportunity to pay that to you before you file this action. If it's a situation of you just want them to go, well, then you need to give them the letter to, hey, I need you to vacate, you know what I mean? Because this ain't about rent, this is about you just being here. Those are two different things. But you still need to give them notice if in the event that you want to evict them for whatever purpose before you file this action. It doesn't appear from the evidence that you did that. Doesn't mean that you can't refile. Doesn't mean that you guys can't work out something later on. But without giving a demand of possession, as I mentioned earlier, we have this law strictly construed. You've got to do those things. You got to check that box, okay? So I'm going to dismiss the case for that purpose. I don't want you guys getting into any type of domestic issues. But obviously, Ms. Frazier, it sounds like you have a agreement, oral, but it just needs to be appropriately exercised as far as getting the writ of possession, okay, and filing the action. So I'm going to dismiss it for that reason. If you guys come back to us, we'll go from there. But you do need
Judge,
that.
Can I say one thing before you end the case, please?
Like I said, the doors have been being locked. The door is locked now. We keep being locked out the door. And that is part of self-eviction in Georgia. When you're doing stuff to try to get people out of your house up like that, like I said, the lights are in my name. Her boyfriend has come down here multiple times and went in the garage and cut the power off, walked out the house and left. Like, because I'm a girl, I don't know how to work that stuff.
Yeah.
And the door is locked too right now. So I just want to say, before you be in this, could you tell them to unlock the door?
Yeah, no. So, Ms. Frazier, you know you can't do any self-help of it. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, you can't do that. You can't lock people out. I don't care that you, quote unquote, signed the lease or not. If they've contributed to rent and even before writ of possession is executed, you can't do that. If you find and let me just remind you, you know, nobody wants the police call. Nobody wants to have any things go down and be negative. But we're very much aware of how these things move. And if people get violent and aggressive, it's going to look bad. It's going to be bad. We don't want that to happen. So please don't get into any type of issues or disagreements that lead to some type of physical act before this matter gets resolved. It's not going to be good for anybody involved. You don't want to have either you or your siblings go to jail or be harmed. I see it too much. It's the holidays. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Can we just get the door unlocked while you on the phone?
But you do need to unlock the door. You do need.
First of all, the door
no.
unlocked.
I'm just telling you.
It's not locked.
You're giving me the view that you may have locked the door. So please,
it's locked. I
have the door unlocked.
There's the whole time. Okay. There's no way that I could have locked the door. I literally just woke up.
But I'm just.
Her boyfriend is there, so he locked the door.
Even if it's your boyfriend, don't let your boyfriend find yourself in a situation that you shouldn't be in. Unlock the door, okay? But she's at the door, not being able to get in, showing us on video that she can't open the door.
The door is not locked. It has never been. Stop lying.
That's what I just said. The door hasn't, because my boyfriend just took my dog outside and the door was unlocked.
Okay, well,
we have not been outside since.
I'm just, hey, listen. So she's at a green door. Apparently, she's alleging that that's the front door of the spot. I'm just curious. Do you have a green front door?
They got it. You can lock it back.
And they do have the key. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
But even if we have a key, the door shouldn't be locked. I shouldn't
The
have
door
to
was not locked.
Well, hold
The
on,
door was not locked.
Elaine, whatever. I'm sorry. If you got a key, use the key. Don't demand that she open the door.
No, Your Honor, what I'm saying is anytime we come, I can go and check the
The
mailbox.
door is unlocked.
No,
The door.
Miss Frazier, I don't got time
Hold
for
on.
that. If you got a key, I'm not concerned. You guys are free to go. All right.
All
Please
right,
don't-
thank you.
don't- yeah. Please. All right.